So these are assembly instructions for my Valentine's Day jumping box. I'm going to start with a plus shaped piece, and I'm folding on the score lines in the center of my shape. And then I have my squares. They're all the same size except one of them, so I'm going to put that one aside for now. For one side of my shape, I have one that has no holes in the center, and then 4 others that have a circular cutout in the center. I'm putting glue on the underside of my 5 panels. I'm gluing them onto my white base, and I want to make sure that the cutouts are stacked exactly on top of one another and that there's an even border all the way around. And for the center one, I'm just gluing it in the middle, making sure there's an even border all the way around. I've used 110-pound cardstock. This type of project requires a very sturdy cardstock. So I've decorated the interior of my box. I'm going to flip my piece over and I'm going to decorate the panels on the exterior of my box. And I'm basically going to do exactly the same thing as I did for the interior. So now that I've decorated both sides of my box, I'm going to decorate the lid. So I've just folded down on all the score lines for my lid piece. I'm taking that larger square from earlier and I'm putting glue on the underside of it, and I'm gluing it down to the center of my box. I want an even border all the way around between my shape and the score lines. And then I have 4 thin rectangles and I'm just gluing them around the perimeter of my center square. I have 4 tabs in the corners of my box. I'm going to put glue on one of the tabs, it doesn't matter which one, from the score line to the edge. I'm folding my side down, tucking my tab under, and then folding the adjacent side. So the cut edge of that side is right along the score line of my tab. And I'm doing that for all 4 tabs, putting glue on them, and then gluing the adjacent side to the tab. So now I have these 4 flaps on the edge. I'm pulling them away from the center temporarily. I'm choosing one of the flaps, it doesn't matter which one. I'm putting glue all over it. And then I'm folding it inwards, going with my bone folder, and I'm just spreading that glue. I'm doing that with all 4 sides, just gluing in those flaps. So that's my lid done. Next, I'm moving on to this piece. So this is the focal point in the center of my box. I'm just folding down on all the score lines that run the length of this piece. And then I'm folding down on the tabs that are at the end of each one of those little panels. So next I have these decorative pieces. I'm putting glue on the underside of them. So this is some foil poster board. I'm gluing all 8 of these pieces to all 8 of those full panels. I'm trying to create an even border all the way around. So now that I've decorated my piece, I'm putting glue on that panel that's at the end, bringing the other end around. I want the cut edge of the other end to be right along the score line. Then I'm folding all of my tabs inwards so they're pointing towards the center. And I have 2 octagon pieces with decorative panels for them as well. I'm just gluing down the decorative panels. I'm taking one of my octagon pieces and I'm putting glue on the perimeter of the underside of it. And then I'm flipping it over so that the glue is towards my mat. And I'm just lowering it into my shape. And I want the corners of my octagon to be right at the score lines that are on the sides of my shape. And I'm going in with my bone folder and I'm spreading that glue. And then I'm flipping my piece over. I'm putting glue on the underside of my other octagon piece. And I'm just gluing it so that the straight edges on my octagon follow the straight edges on the sides of my container. And so then I have my doily piece and a decorative piece for my doily. And then I have these round pieces. I'm taking out all those negative cuts because they're cute little hearts and I'm saving them. And then I'm folding on the score lines and there's a cut between 2 of the solid pieces. I'm going to put glue on one of the solid pieces. I'm tucking it under the other one and I'm folding the other one over. And I want the cut line of the other piece to be right on the score line of the first one, like so. And then I'm going to flip it over. I'm putting glue all over the interior. And with the solid side upwards, I'm just gluing it onto the top of my lid. So I've got the 2 hearts on the sides and the solid part on the top of my lid. I've got 4 corners, so I'm going to do that 4 times. In the file, I've cut out a panel and I've kept both the cutouts and the panel itself. So I was able to repurpose the panel, and I am putting the cutouts for the hearts into the little container. So at this point you have a choice. You can make this into an explosion box. You would glue down these hearts to camouflage the holes on both the inside and on the outside, or you could contour them out before you even cut the project. But what I've decided to do is turn this into a jumping box. I have these rubber bands. These are size 12. So they measure 1 3/4 of an inch by 1 16th of an inch. I'm taking 2 of them, and then I have 4 metal brads, and these measure 0.1/8 of an inch or 4.5 millimeters. I'm inserting the brads into the hole. I'm using my Cricut tool to put a little bit of a spacer as I open up my brad. I want there to be a tiny little gap between my panel and my brad. So I'm doing that for all 4 panels in all 4 holes. So I'm taking one of my rubber bands, I'm extending it and I'm stretching it out and looping it onto my brads. And I'm taking my second rubber band, I am inserting it between the 2 sides of my first rubber band, and then I'm stretching it and looping it onto the 2 other brads. So this is the inside of my box. I'm putting my container down. I'm putting my lid on, and so then when I open my box, we have confetti everywhere. So this is the exterior of my box, and this is the interior of my box. So I'm going to glue down my doily in the center. So I'm going to put some double-sided tape and glue them down just to camouflage the other side of my brad. I'm going to do that for all 4 of them. I have all my negative cuts as my confetti in the center of my box, and since I've made a few of these boxes, I was able to make 4 cards. They're all the same size, but they're in different orientations. So one of them is portrait and it opens like a book. The other one is portrait, but it opens top fold. This one is landscape and it's a top fold. This one is landscape and it opens like a book. So the pieces for the cards and the box are all in the file. And so just for contrast, this is my explosion box.